Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Don't Whistle at Night. We're broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. I'm your host, Don Yazzie, and with me is my co-host, Darren Yazzie. He'll be joining us shortly. Right now, he's having technical difficulties. and tonight, we have here he is. Here he is. What's up,
Oh, hey.
Darren?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I just had a little faulty with the headphones right there. All right.
Yeah, yeah. I just did the intro right now, and told everyone to say told everyone hello. And right now we have a very special guest. His name is Rippy Williams out of the Navajo Nation, and he has a book coming out uh very soon. It's called "So I Dated a Skinwalker," and it's going to be a very interesting book. And when it comes available, he'll tell you himself when it's ready. And without further ado, here's our guest of honor tonight, Rippy Williams.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Rippy?
Hey,
Hey, it's a good Sunday. It's good to be here.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
likewise, it's a good day.
Good day
It's a
to
good
be
day to
alive.
have you. What was that? Say that
I
again.
said, oh, it's a good day to be alive.
Oh yeah, exactly, exactly. Let's say hello to our guests right now. Let's see here before we start the show. Oh man, we got everyone here ready. Vaughn Koshel, first one here. Been waiting all week. Let's go. Hey, thank you,
Yes,
Vaughn.
sir. Yep.
Likewise, we've been waiting for this as well. Every episode, actually. Kurt W75. Hey, Double D. Great to see you guys.
Hey,
Can't
what's
wait
up,
for the
guys?
show tonight. This one sounds pretty interesting. Oh, yeah. Definitely, Kurt. Definitely. OW13. Oh, Owl 13. Okay. Oh, hey, what's up? Okay. Sounds like from Montana. Sounds like Running Crane, where he spells okay. What's
Oh,
up,
come on.
Melody? Yeah, and then right here, let's see here. Sherry, Madigon. Hello, Don and Darren. Hello, Sherry.
Hey, hey, sure.
Yeah, right here. Kurt W75. Hey, Rippy.
Hey,
Thank you. Thank you for introducing our guest, too.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome,
Please,
guys.
everybody, give our guest a warm welcome. He's part of the family now, whether you like it or not. Nah, just kidding. Okay, so all right, we're gonna hand the mic off to you, Rippy. You can start off. Tell us where you come from and your furthest memory of your paranormal experiences in your life, if you would, please.
okay, yeah, my name is Rippy Williams. My real name is Rippy. It's a long story. My dad was in the military, and he was, uh, I guess, like in a really tough situation while he was in the Marine Corps. And there was a guy with the last name Rippy. So my dad always called him Rippy, and he always called our last name is Williams, so he always called my dad Williams. And so when my dad, I guess when they were in the Marine Corps together, they there was one point where they promised each other where they would name their first sons after each other. So when I was, and the funny thing is, their son was born 3 days before me. So he was born on May 14th. I was born on May 17th. May 14th, he got the name William Rippy. His like because his last name is Rippy, and they used to call my dad Williams all the time. So when he named his son after my dad, but he named him after my dad's last name. So he got William Rippy. 3 days later, I was born. I got Rippy Williams, and
Wow.
so yeah, a lot of people are like, "Is that your nickname?" I'm like, "No, it's my real name." I come from the Navajo Res. I from Springstead, New Mexico, but I grew up in the Twin Lakes area, and um, my clans are Nakaidene, Nishletu, Baha Bashichin, Nanesh Ejidashiche, Turichi Dashinele. So, yeah, which makes me related to everyone. Like every time I met a Navajo gal that I liked, I'm like, ooh, like I like this one here, and then hanging out with them, like third date, they're like, hey, what's your clans? And then always it's always one of the one of them four, and we're usually the same. So that
Wow.
ruined the for me.
Yeah.
Oh man, sounds like you got to go over a couple more mesas and a couple more hills. Come out to the Western Navajo Nation. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, and I grew up. Like I said, I grew up in the Twin Lakes area. When up until I was about in third grade, and then we my parents had moved. We moved out to Springstead, where my nullies live, and my nully esteem lives there. Nullisan lives there, and then all the kids just kind of like branched out around. It's a big canyon that we live in, or it's a big valley that we live in. They call it Happy Valley, and yeah, just growing up on the res, no electricity, no running water, and so got to experience all of that growing up, and it was still pretty much like that by the time in 1996 when I left for the Marine Corps. And then when I had finally come back, like my parents were getting electricity, they had running water, and which I mean was very nice. But I think we got so used to living without flipping a switch and to our heater coming on, or without hauling water. Like I remember we were always really conscientious of water. We would like save our gallon jugs, and anytime we were in town, we would at a store that where we could fill them up. We would always fill them up. But yeah, growing up in Twin Lakes, that area, I remember. I think that my earliest memory is probably about 6 years old, and I don't remember anything before that. Like I remember my grandma was talking about my fourth birthday. I drove I guess they gave me a little tiny motorcycle, and I drove it into a ditch, and I don't remember that. So, uh, but so I was six, and I remember I was upset about something. And where my grandma lives, there's a bunch of like hills with mesas up there on top, and we lived like down at the bottom. So I remember I was a little upset. I probably was if I was diagnosed, if I was a kid nowadays, today, I probably would have been diagnosed with ADHD because, like, it was weird where I think I put my parents through a lot, and the only person that could really handle me was with my grandma because she used to have a gish with her and whack me in the head if I was acting up and stuff. So, and I did good with my grandma. She kept me busy. Like we would wake up at 5 in the morning, be working all day. So anyway, I think one evening I was a little upset, and there's this old road that goes up to the top of the mesa behind my grandma's house, about maybe half a mile, and then the incline is about another half a mile to get to the top of the mesa. And I was walking up there, and I remember the sun was going down, and I looked down, and I swear I seen like some kind of figure at the bottom, and it was slowly coming up, and I thought it was my grandma. I thought like she was gonna come up to maybe come up and tell me it was dinner time, or tell me to come home. And then like I said, I remember I was mad about something, so I wasn't gonna meet her halfway. I said I'm gonna wait right here, and then it was slowly coming up, and then about when they were about three-quarters of the way, I couldn't see them because you know how when the sun goes down, like you can't really like you could just make out like something is right there. And so it got to a certain point, and I was trying to look at it to see if it was my grandma. It looked bigger than my grandma, and I remembered like I just got this really weird feeling, like that the hairs on my hands stood up, and I knew something wasn't right. So I jumped off of this rock that I was sitting on, and I started walking down, and then whatever that figure was, it disappeared. I didn't see it. I walked right past like where it was at. I'm looking around, and like the sun, by this time the sun is completely gone down, and it's just the remaining sunlight that's left up in the sky. And I'm walking down, and then like I said, at this point I'm kind of scared. I'm like, whoa, that's not. I know that wasn't my grandma. And so I start walking down. By the time I get down close to the bottom of the road on that old road, it's dark. And then so I was taking some steps. I could hear the something walking behind me, and then I would stop. It would stop, and I would take some more steps, and then it would start walking again. And then I would stop, then it would stop. And I was like, man, that is definitely not my grandma. And my grandma's house was probably about maybe still about a half mile away. And then so I just took off. I started running, and then I yelled for my grandma. I was like, "Grandma!" And then there was an outhouse sitting about maybe halfway between. I run right past the outhouse and I look back and I could hear something running, but I couldn't see it. And then I finally get to my grandma's. I get to we had a chao right outside, and I run into the chao, and then I would yell, "Grandma!" Then my grandma's like, and she's like, "What's going on?" And I tell her, I think there's something following me. So my grandma was really good. She had a 22, and she was really good with this thing. So she went outside. She was sitting out there, and she's looking out. She's asking me which way, where it was at, and I told her it's towards the outhouse. And my grandma was over there yelling, cussing in Navajo, "Chindi tradinya," and shooting her 22, and just like shooting it out there and like and cussing away. And I was like, oh, like, and I remember like at that point I wasn't scared anymore. I'm like, yeah, like, like I mean, my grandma was a badass. She was like she wasn't
Mm,
afraid of anything. And
yeah.
so then I remember my grandma sat me, and she was telling me about Yenot Loshis, about skinwalkers, and um, and then I remember the thing. Then she told me that their number one job is to scare you. And she goes, and did they scare you? I said yes. So she goes, they succeeded in what they had come out to do. And so she says, and then uh, whenever I something like that happens, to carry bitter powder on me, and then to just take the bitter powder, and then like and say a prayer, and then always try to get to one of the parents or to her, and then just let them know what's going on. And then I went to school that the next day, and I remember I'm sitting in class, and I'm still like just kind of freaked out about what happened last night. And then like my grandma shooting a gun into the darkness, and I'm sitting there, and like then I'm looking at all the other students, and I'm like wondering how many of these guys experience stuff like that. And we had a couple of like white students in the class, like not that many. There was like I think three in the whole school, and one of them was in my class. And then so I didn't feel comfortable really talking to anyone else about it, but I was comfortable talking to him. And he had a Russian background. I remember like his great grandparents were like from Russia or something like that. And then I was telling him about that, and then he's like, "No," he goes, "It was probably a ghost. It's that yeah, those I don't think anything like that's real, but ghosts are real, and so it's probably a ghost." And so yeah, from there I just took it at that as the explanation of what happened. And then like fast forward a couple of years, there's like just all kinds of like crazy stuff going on at my grandma's. Something keeps letting our sheep out, and then like we rigged the sheep corral to where like we had to actually do some like heavy lifting to open the sheep corral, but something would keep coming and unlatching it. My grandma used to rake around the corral so we could see the footprints of like whatever had come. And I remember my grandma would show me like it looked like an animal print, then it turns into like human prints, and then um
Oh,
yeah, that just would. I remember like thinking, and then from this point I transferred schools from Twin Lakes to Jefferson Elementary in Gallup. And then and and then like a lot of stuff like that would happen. I remember we had a medicine man that had come over, and we had a ceremony in my grandma's hogan. And while we were having the ceremony, I remember my uncle had come in, and then he goes, "Oh," he goes, "You guys are doing this," and he takes back off. He comes back with a shotgun, and I'm like, "Why the heck does my uncle have a shotgun?" And then so we're sitting down, and then just the ceremony is going on, and all of a sudden you hear the door of um, the the hogan. It was moving, and you could just hear a bunch of like it was people running on top of the. It sounded like people running on top
Huh.
of the hogan, and then they were like scratching the window. There was only two small windows and the door, and then the top of the hogan, and but you could hear them running up there. They were laughing, scratching the windows and stuff. And I remember like just being so terrified, like sitting there. And now I realize why my uncle went and he got the shotgun. But I remember the medicine man just told us to stay seated, not to be looking at the windows, not to be looking anywhere, just kind of focus on what we were doing at the time. And and then at the end of the ceremony, I remember he says, "Well, let's go get it." And this is the whole. I mean, I've talked about my grandma like she speaks English. My grandma spoke no English at all. Everything that I'm saying that she said was in Navajo, and same with my uncle, and same with the medicine man. They were all speaking in Navajo. And so we go outside, and then we walk out, and then he tells us, he says, "Don't look. They're right out. They're right out here. If you look, they're going to distract you. They're going to scare you. So don't look. Just look right ahead of you. We're walking right out here." He digs a hole, and then I remember he pulls out this big aluminum foil, and then there's like stuff in it, like bones, a hair, a bullet, and
Hmm.
just like other things. And I remember we grabbed that. I remember when he picked it up, it looked like it burned his hand. It looked like it was hot, so he grabbed like a washcloth, and then he put it on top of it. We took it back inside. He prayed over it, and then we burned it. And then that was the end of the end of the ceremony.
Wow.
And the next day, I'm sitting there in school, and like now I'm going to Jefferson. Like half the class is white, half, and like there's some Hispanics and maybe like five Navajo kids. And so I'm sitting there now, like thinking, how many of everyone in my classroom right here has ever experienced anything that I sat through last night? And I thought probably none. Like, and then so at that point, I didn't like being Navajo. I said, I don't like this because like, why do we have to put up with that? Like it's scary. It's like really scary, and like I was born into it. And but then like just throughout the years, with that things like that would happen again and again and again, and eventually I think I just got used to it, to where like I know it's part of the culture. And as far as like getting through things myself, it's just a lot of different things. A lot of the times I was always grateful for the medicine men that had come over, and that they would do the ceremony. But then like that wasn't it. Like it's not just you get the ceremony done, everything's good, and then give it another 9 months, and then boom, you're in the same situation again. Everything around the home is just like it's like a cycle. And I remember when I graduated high school, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get away from here. I'm gonna get as far away from here as I can, and then I'm gonna stay out there. So I'm thinking like, what can I do? How can I get away from home? Uh, I remember I heard about Haskell Indian Nations up in Lawrence, Kansas, and I looked at the admission packet, and I needed money. I needed like $25 for the admission packet. I needed like another like 300, and this is 1996, so 300 was a lot back then. Like 300, like three, like that would be almost like 1,000 today. Like I did, like it was hard to get $300, and I couldn't afford that. So that I kind of just tossed that idea out the window, and I said, "Let me join the military." And then I remember I watched the movie Full Metal Jacket, and I thought, no, I don't know if I could have someone just yelling at me like that. That guy's mean. And the funny thing about it is, Full Metal Jacket is the boot camp that they portray in the movie is exactly what Marine Corps boot camp is like. But you don't just have one drill instructor; you have five of them. And so just imagine like one yelling at you from here, two more yelling from here, one in the back pressing the back of your head, and yeah. I remember at that, like one point just standing there like, damn, like how in the heck did I pick this? But I'm like, but I'm not home. I'm out here, and so now I don't have to deal with like all that stuff back home, all the witchcraft and stuff like that. But now I'm having to deal with like being an adult, and now all this yelling out here. But for me, the yelling part wasn't really that bad because I grew up in a home where like I had a really strict dad who used to yell a lot. My grandma used to yell a lot. Grandparents from the dad side used to yell a lot. So I was around a lot of yelling. So when I remember, I think I was 3 days into Marine Corps boot camp, and there was a big black guy. My platoon was up on the third floor. I was in hotel company, and so this guy, he ran and he tried to jump. And remember the drill instructors, they caught him right before he got to where he could have actually jumped off of. And I remember wondering why did this guy try to jump? Like, did something happen to him specifically? Like, are they beating us? Like, and are they when they take us into the drill instructor's duty hut? Like, what's going on? Why did this guy try to jump? And he wasn't the only one. There was a few more that tried to like commit suicide while we were in boot camp. And then I think about maybe when I was in the third phase that we had when I was in boot camp. There was 3 phases first phase was like 4 weeks. Second phase was another 4 weeks. I was up in Camp Pendleton, and then we did our another 4 weeks back down in San Diego. And so this was at the end of third phase, and I realized that a lot of these guys weren't used to being yelled at like that. So when they were being yelled at by the drill instructors like that constantly, I guess it ate at them so much that they were trying to jump. And then for me, that part wasn't hard because, like I said, I grew up being yelled at. And I used to, I did a spell over at Wingate Elementary in the dorm. Like, so I used to stay in the dorm out there from third grade up until about seventh grade. And so some of those the dorm mates that I had at Wingate Elementary School were way meaner than some of these drill instructors.
Veterans, probably veterans too.
Yep.
Most likely veterans. I have a question. Oh yeah. For the non-native, non-Navajo speakers, and what he said earlier, Chinita Dinya. So translation for you guys wondering, that means his grandma told that Skinwalker, I'm sending you to hell. That's what the translation is.
Yeah.
Going back,
Yeah,
just for our non-Navajo listeners.
basically, Skinwalker, you go to hell, and then shooting at it.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
man,
She's
uh,
trying to send him. She's trying to send him. um,
yeah, man, I
I have
like
a
that. I
question
like
for
that.
you. Oh yeah. That's my grandma right there. My grandma's like that.
Right, right. Yeah, it's
Um,
the same.
when you seen that figure coming up, when you first thought it was your grandma, do you remember how big or what color it was, or?
It was just like at first, like when it was down at the bottom, that's why I thought it was my grandma because I knew something was down there. But and this like it's really big. It's coming up that road from the bottom of the hill behind or from where my grandma's house is. From my
Mhm.
grandma's house to the road is probably about 200 yards, and then from the bottom of the hill to where I was sitting is about maybe 500 yards. So there was
Hmm.
some distance. So, but like, yeah, I mean, it was like once it got closer, I knew it was way bigger than how big my grandma was. My grandma's about maybe
Wow,
5 foot, about 5 foot tall, and this thing
Oh
was
man.
wow.
bigger than that.
So
Darren, you have any
you think,
questions?
yeah. So do you think this thing was attracted to you being so upset, or going through emotions? This is one thing that I hear sometimes is these these evil entities come usually come by when uh, you say they're going through turmoil. You're going through a lot of distress, or just like what you just like you had. You were mad at the time, and I think this thing was attracted to that kind of
Yeah,
energy.
throughout my life, every time I've had like encounters, anger, anger, anger is like a big part of it. Like I think it starts out with anger, then eventually it turns into fear. But yeah, like I think that's one of the reasons why, like when you listen to a lot of elders speak, they always talk about grounding yourself and making sure you're good
Mm.
right here, because I think that anger opens the door to a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah, that's what Don says. He kind of talks about Star Wars, and this kind of leads back to what Yoda said.
Yoda? Anger.
Yeah, he's like anger leads to
That's it.
hate, and hate leads to jealousy
Hate,
and stuff like that. So
suffering.
at a
Yes,
certain
leads to
size,
suffering.
it's
And
yeah,
then,
like stuff like that. It makes you think a bit more, and that is true. It's good to not build your house on sand, as the Bible says. It's always good to have a good foundation. Even though you go through like weird stuff, dark entities, it's always good to put yourself um, grounded, like you said. Like don't lose your mind. Keep a good mind on you. Even if you start praying, you do what you got to do. Uh, so,
yeah,
but saying that, all
with
these
the barriers.
the older teaching, it always goes back. They're teaching you for a reason. They're just not saying stuff just to say it. Um, Especially like like what you were saying about your grandmother. I can say the same thing too about my grandmother. You know, it's I don't know if it's a Native American thing, but you know, the grandmother always seems to be like the hero. You know, the like you said, going out with guns a blazing and all that stuff, like one of those '80s action heroes. You know, so uh, you know, it's I'll give a shout out to all the the grandmothers out there. Yeah, you know, we miss you.
Yeah, definitely. Just like something would be outside. I remember my great grandmother. I just had to sit near her. She's always laying by her loom, making her blankets, and
Mm,
I feel comfortable, and I just go to sleep. You know what I mean? Oh
right?
man,
Yeah.
they were worth
That
more than we ever known while they were
yeah,
here.
for sure.
Let's
Like uh
let's get some of our listeners here real quick here before we push play on Rippy again. Hang on there. Let's see here. Dream Weaver. Hello guys. What's up,
hey,
Dream? And Renee Drew. Skinwalkers aren't the only shapeshifters.
oh yeah.
Hmm, yeah, yeah. There's different. Every tribe has their own form, just like with
Mm,
our next guest coming on. His name's last name Kevin. His name's Kevin Beltran. He's coming on soon. He's Zuni, and he said that they have their own rituals where they would make the skin stretch over that person too, and he'd be a skinwalker. So they have
mm,
their own form, and I know the Hopis they do, and I'm pretty sure the Apaches do. Maybe I'm not sure, but like every tribe, they have some form. um, let's see here. Renee Drew, wouldn't surprise me if a lot of politicians were skinwalkers. Oh yeah, or
uh,
even have
yeah, yeah.
skinwalkers. They probably have some skinwalkers on the payroll. You know what I mean? I
Right.
wouldn't doubt that. Then Kurt W75 Yoda knows all. Yeah, what is it? He
Yep.
says, uh, "Anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering, and suffering leads to." I can't remember the
Yeah,
last part.
yeah,
Someone
yeah.
finish it for me.
Yep.
Oh man, yep, Yoda knows all. And oh yeah, happy Halloween, native Earp and hype chats.
Oh,
Hey,
oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's our season. Yep, it's gonna
Mm.
be Darren's birthday, and then after that's mine. It's our month. All right, Rippy, we're turning the wait. Before we turn the mic on to you, Darren, you have any more questions before we go forward?
Uh no, I'm really curious about, I really liked your book that you came out with. It, like we were talking last night, is it's a really unique, just straight to the point, book cover, title for your book, So uh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so
All you.
Go
that
ahead.
I titled the book "So I Dated a Skinwalker," and main reason for that title is like I wanted if someone is like walking and they walk past and they see that like whoa like what the heck. So I dated a Skinwalker, and I thought that that would be something that would just right now like the printing company that's going to be doing it is Spines, and it's just a black cover right now, and it's the typewriter font. It just says so dot dot dot. I dated a Skinwalker, and then the back just kind of describes it. The book
Mm,
basically once I had gone through everything that I had gone through with this, and then realized that the ultimate goal of this whole relationship was pretty much like to kill me. I thought, you know what, I need to tell this story, and because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have experienced this and have made it out. But then you think about it, how many people have experienced this but they didn't make it out, and then it didn't look like
all right.
it passed away from like it there's a really good way of how they cover everything up, and it's so I the main reason like I wanted to do the story, the book was so if someone reads it and they're like, wait a second, I remember our family member that passed away. They went through exactly this right here, what he's talking about. And because I think that some people aren't that lucky that to that they're able to get away. And so anyway, the book I start off with that story, me standing there watching my thinking it was my grandma walking up the hill. Then I talk about a little bit like just it more of like high school, like whenever uh, like I was attending ceremonies, and then I graduate, join the Marine Corps. Anyway, so I do 13 and a half weeks Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. I come back here for my 10 days leave. After you finish boot camp, you get 10 days leave. So on my 10 days leave, I had come back to Gallup, was with my parents, and then I wanted to spend one day at my Nolly's house. So, or one night. So that evening I was there, and I guess I had lost so much weight, and it was funny though. Like all my grandparents from both sides, they would just cook me a bunch of food because I don't know if they think that they were starving me out there, but I was just like in tip top shape. That and I was like so skinny, and they thought that maybe I was starving, but I remember just like those 10 days, everyone just kept cooking for me, and I was like, oh, I can't eat anymore. I was like so stuffed. But there was one night, I was at my grandma's house. It was probably about 2 in the morning, and I remember the dogs were making a really weird noise. I woke up, and I was sitting there. So in my grandma's house, like whenever I would sleep there, there's this area that we call it the chao, where it's just there's still a sand floor on the inside. It's where like everyone in the family would come, and then we always ate our meals together there. There was a huge table, and it could accommodate, like my dad had 9 brothers and 1 sister, so and their kids. So all me and all my
Yeah.
cousins, we could all eat there. It was big enough for all of us. And so I opened the curtain and I'm trying to look out, and I can't see nothing. It's like pitch black. And I put my head right up against the window and I'm looking out and I'm like, I can't see nothing. And then all of a sudden it gets quiet. And then I'm like just sitting here still looking, and whatever there was, it was something right in front, right there on the glass, and it moved. And then once it took off, I seen it start running down this way, and I thought, whoa, there was something right here, right in front of me. So the door was right here. I grabbed the door, I jump out, and like at this point, I'm in the best shape of my life. So I take off running, and it's 2 in the morning. The moon is out, and I could see this thing like ahead of me, and I'm trucking, I'm running after it, and then it gets to down about maybe 100 yards, and then it cuts up into this ditch. This ditch, if you take it all the way up, there's no way out of that ditch because there's like a when it rains a lot, there's a waterfall back there, so it's like a wall that just shoots straight up. So I'm thinking like, if this is a person, they're not going to make it out of here. I can chase them right in. So I'm running in. I'm running, and all of a sudden I get to where to where it ends, and there's I could see something right there, and I grab it, and I'm like holding it really tight, and I'm like ready to hit it, and then I'm like, what are you? And then it's a little girl, and like a little girl, and like, and she goes, don't hit me. And I was like, what the heck are you doing out here? And she was like, um and she's like trying to talk, but she was breathing heavy at the same time. That's why I knew it was her that was running. And then so I was like, that was you, wasn't it? You ran up here. She goes, no. She goes, I've been sitting right here. I was hiking with my parents and we got lost. So I'm just waiting right here. I'm waiting for the sun to come up. And I'm just like, no, this does not sound right. There's something completely wrong with this. It's like, and like I still have her in my hand, and but I'm like, it's a little girl though. Like, yeah. So I finally let her go, and I'm like what were you doing? Where were you hiking? Because there's no hike. Like this is where my family lives. There's no hiking trails out here. How did you end up out here? And I remember it was just really weird. And then she started crying. So I'm like, okay, do you know what? All right. Well, I said, you could come down here. I'm not going to let you into the house, but you can just wait out here, and then wait till the sun comes up, and then we could drive you down to the gas station. The closest gas station is about maybe like 6 miles, and she goes, no, I'm just going to wait right here. And then I was like, okay, that's on you. So then I walk back, and as I'm walking back to my grandma's house, I'm like, that no, there's something wrong. And I thought about going to my uncle's house and telling him, hey, let's go check this. There's a little girl out here. I should have done something more. I didn't. I just went back to the chao, laid down, and then thought about it for a bit, went to sleep. Then I woke up. My grandma was cooking. They made coffee, and we were eating, and I was telling them what happened, and then so we go back up to where she was at, nothing. Then we walk all up around the mesa. We go up on top of the ridge. We're looking. We don't see her, and yeah, and that was it. So um, so let's see. I do my 4 years in the Marine Corps. I get out. When I get out, I come home. My whole plan was to go down, start college at ASU. I already applied. My GI Bill was already. They said that it would kick in, and but I come into town. I got out of the Marine Corps on Friday, August 12th, 2000, and I drove all night. No, no, no. Then I went to they had the Tattoo the Earth concert in San Bernardino with Slipknot, and so I went to that Saturday night, and then after the concert was over, about like maybe 1 in the morning, I got in my truck and I drove all. I kept driving all the way in on the I-40. I had come in. I got back to Gallup about maybe 7 in the morning, and I'm right there on the south side where that road that goes towards Zuni. There was no there was just a stoplight that had red, green, and yellow. Now they have the arrow, so like it'll like when you stop, you can make the turn. But back then they didn't. So I was coming, and I seen this little government vehicle coming, and I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay, is he gonna stop it? And it looks like he stops, and I'm going, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, he's going. Boom! He hits the back of my vehicle, and not it, my vehicle spun out, and like I jump out of the vehicle really quick, and I look, and I'm like, whoa, and like a lot of stuff flew out of the back of my truck, and I'm looking at the mess, and we didn't have cell phones back then, so I remember a lady had pulled over, and she goes, hey, I'm gonna go down to the gas station and call the police for you guys, okay? I said, okay, thank you, and then she goes down, and anyway, that truck tries to take off, and I run over there, I jump on the hood. I'm like, where the hell are you going? And it's like an older man. He worked for the government, for Gallup Indian Medical Center, I remember. And then, but he tried to drive off. That was weird. And then finally, the cop shows up. I let the cop know that, like, that I had a green light. He came. He hit the back of my vehicle. Then he took a statement from him, and I was telling him he tried to drive off. Like I had to jump on his truck in order to keep him here. And then anyway, they did all the paperwork, and so my I couldn't even drive my truck. And then the cop didn't even give me a ride home from there. I had to walk home from there, and home was still like a good way away. And so I get home. I let my parents know that I got into an accident, and so I'm stuck here. Like my whole plan of going down the ASU, that just kind of flew out the window because like I don't have my truck. And then when they took it in, they looked at it. They told me it was going to be about 6 weeks. And then as far as being, and then so I had some money saved up. I went on a deployment in 1999, so I had a good chunk of change saved up, and I had to use all of that to get my truck fixed. And then the government, the insurance told me that since it was a government vehicle that hit me, that they'll reimburse me. So I didn't mind paying for it. But the funny thing is, I didn't get reimbursed for like a whole year. Like I remember, I kept asking them, "Hey, come on! Like when are you guys gonna pay me back?" And then it took about a year from the time I got. So August of 2001, I finally got that check, and I was like, "Well, I don't need it now. I needed it back then." And so pretty much I got stuck here in town. I ran into a doctor that used to run the hemodialysis unit here in Gallup. And I was telling him I just got out of the Marine Corps, and he was asking me if I was looking for a job. I said, yeah. And he asked me if I was interested in hemodialysis. And I had no clue what that was. He explained it to me. And then, yeah, he helped me get hired. I went through the hiring process. I had to go to school to get my hemodialysis technician license. And then I did that. I did that for 2 years here in town. And then I went down to I went up to Humboldt State University in Arcata, California. Did some schooling up there, and then
Favorite place. Mhm.
yeah, and then I had come back here in 2004. Uh, Met my I have two daughters. I met my daughter's mom. She was from Winslow, but she just moved here from Durango. She was going to school at Fort Lewis College, and we ended up here at the same time. So it was like I didn't know anybody here except like high school people I went to high school with and whatnot. She didn't know anyone, so we started hanging out. Eventually, had two daughters, and So we moved down to Las Cruces together because we both couldn't find a job here in town. I remember at one point I put 27 job applications in Gallup. Not one person hired me. So we went down to Las Cruces. First application we put in, we got hired. So we were down there, and I got bit by a black widow spider a year into living down there. And then I went to the IHS in Mescalero. They told me if I wanted to be seen down there, I needed to get all my stuff from GIMC transfer down there. So I said, you know what? I'll just go up to GIMC. Had come back up here to GIMC. I got a job. No, uh, I met the nursing advisor, and she had a electronic drum set. She asked me if I could set it up for her, and I did. While I was setting it up for her, she asked me what school, what colleges I went to. So she looked at my unofficial transcripts and told me like, "Hey, you have all the prereqs done to get into the nursing program. Have you ever thought about becoming a nurse?" I was like, "Nope, that's not something that doesn't sound appealing to me." And here she signed me up to take the test, and like I said, I was just up here to get treated for my spider bite. Go back down to Las Cruces. I get a letter in the mail that says, "Congratulations, you've been accepted into the UNM Gallup nursing program." So uh, my wife comes home, and then I let her know, "Hey, we I got accepted into the nursing program." But she's like, "I don't want to move back to Gallup." I'm like, "I don't either." But like, I'm like, this is like job security. Like, I can actually, we can afford stuff if and when I finish. And so we thought about it hard, and we moved back here. And I was working at TNR, and I worked in the meat department there, 2004 into 2005, and then yeah, and then so then we had my first daughter in January of 2005, second daughter November of 2006. Relationship was good. 2007, 2008. I'm in the nursing program. Wife gets into the nursing program a semester behind me, so we're both in the nursing program together with two toddlers. I don't know how we did it. Like when I look back and I'm like, man, that yeah, how did we do that? I don't know. But we did. We finished. But at the end of when we had both graduated, I graduated, and then I remember we were so broke. We hardly had money for anything. I used to drive all over town with my bike picking cans just so I could buy a bag of potatoes and a bag of rice to feed my daughters. So once I graduated from nursing school, I took my state boards right away. I think in 2 weeks, I picked a lot of cans to save up some money to buy or to pay to take the test. The test was like 180 or something like that. And then so I go and take the test. Uh, 3 weeks later, they let me know I passed. So now I'm an RN. So I applied with Gallup Indian Medical Center. I'm waiting to get in, and they're excited about getting me in. They're like, "Yeah, we remember you doing your clinicals here. Yeah, we want you to work in the ER." And so they're all, and so I'm pumped. I'm like, "Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's get me in the ER." And I'm waiting, and a month goes by, 2 months goes by, 3 months goes. And I keep going up there like, I thought you guys needed help. Come on, like when am I going to start working? And so I run into this lady that was she was the supervisor for the med surg unit, but now she's working at a long-term care center in Gallup, and so basically a nursing home. And so she says, like, "What are you doing now?" I said, "I'm not doing nothing. I'm waiting to get into GIMC." She goes, "Hey, come down to the nursing home. Let me just show you what it's like. Maybe it might be something you might want to do." She goes, "If it is, I'll hire you." I get down there, and here, like, I'm sitting in orientation. I'm like, "Whoa, wait a second." They told me to come down and check it out, and they told me I was on the clock as of 8 a.m. So I'm like, "Whoa, wait a second. I'm gonna get paid for this?" They're like, "Yeah." So I'm like, "Sign me up. Let's go. Let's do this." So I worked in that nursing home for about 7 years total. But that's where I met the gal I dated that I wrote the book about. Um, there, it was funny though because like my daughter's mom and I, we really tried to make it work. I remember because she's traditional. She got a medicine man. We did a ceremony, and I remember during the ceremony, the medicine man says, "Look at that. There's somebody watching us right now." Right when we started, he built the fire,
Huh.
the ash was there. He threw some cedar on, and he's like, "There's yeah." He goes, "There's a young girl watching us. She has black hair.
Oh,
It's covering her face, so you can't really see her facial
oh,
features, but she's watching us right now." And so I asked him. I said, is she the one that's trying to like ruin our relationship?" And she goes, "Yeah, more than likely. This is the problems
hmm,
that you're having. That's it right there." And then so we do the ceremony, And then like my wife really tried. Like we both really tried, but it was just I think just the stress of going through nursing school together with two little toddler, it broke us, I think. And then so she had come up to me. She says, uh, let's not necessarily take a break, but let's stop this. Let's. But I'm like I don't want. I didn't ever want to say I was divorced. But like I said, it wasn't just a decision that we made. Like we really did try to work it out, but it just crumbled in our hands, and so we split up. And then she met someone, and she was dating them, and I kind of just stayed to myself because I thought, I'm just gonna dive into work. And so she didn't have a place to stay, so I let her stay with me, and uh, and then so I was just working, paying the bills, and uh, doing all of that. And then I met a gal that I really used to like her, and then I was like really wanting that relationship to start. I was talking to her. We would like meet up every now and again. Whenever I would go to work, she would be like, "Hey, meet me at the gas station. I want to give you a hug before you go to work." And I was like all in cloud nine. I had the butterflies again, and which felt really good. And then all of a sudden, I'm at work, and this girl comes up, and she gives me this sob story. She says, "I was driving home yesterday. I drove off the road, and because it snowed." And she goes in, and she started crying in front of me, like, "Hey, I'm so scared to drive in the snow. I do you live?" She asked me, "Do you live near here?" I said, "Yeah, I live 3 minutes from here." She goes, "Is it okay if I stay at your place tonight?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know. You ask people to borrow a broom, a vacuum cleaner, but money, but to stay at my place, like really?" And then she was crying. The crying is what did it. Like I don't know. I'm a sucker for crying, I guess. But she started crying, and I told her, "Okay, you can." And then so we get off of work, and then we go back to my place, and my daughters are out in with mom. They're out in Tisto, Arizona, and they're out there for a couple weeks. And then so I told her she can have the front room. I'm just gonna sleep in the living room. I'm one of those Navajos that I put my bed in the living room, and so I sleep in the living room. And so anyway, we the next morning we get up, we get ready, I make breakfast, we go to work. And here's the weird thing about it: like I never noticed her before that time she had come up and asked me to sleep over, because a little bit later she would always like, "Hey Rippy, do you remember when we lifted that grandma up, and then we did this, and then we took her to the dining room," and then she would bring up stories like that, and I don't remember her.
Mm.
And then she would say, "Remember I was telling you about a concert I had gone to about 6 months ago?" And I would just say yes, but like really, I really don't remember her at all. And then anyway, so that next day at work, she asked me if she could stay over again. And this time I'm more like, no. But I don't know. Like eventually she was back at my place again. Anyway, so she moved in pretty much. And then after staying over for about a month, we she ended up in my room, and then yeah, we were dating. And but
Well, it
so
happens, huh?
yeah, really like that quick. And but so when my daughters and their mom come back, I let her know it, like, "Hey, my ex-wife still lives with me." So but I'm like, we have three bedrooms. The back bedroom, which is the big bedroom, I said that's where she stays, and my daughters stay with her. And then so she tells me that she has two daughters as well. So I'm like, okay. So I said, the next biggest room is on the other end. You and your daughters can stay in that room. And there's that. So we still have the middle room, but my bed is in the living room. That's where I sleep. I'm comfy in the living room. So that's so, but we live like that. We lived like that for 9 months. And then finally, my daughter's mom saved up some money, and then she went and got her own place. And then it was just me and the new girlfriend living together. Um, and but the weird thing about it is when I first introduced my youngest daughter to her. My youngest daughter was just about to turn 5 years old, and my daughter says, "Dad," she's like, "Dad, she's a boogeyman." Right there, right in front of her.
Oh,
Wow.
My daughter pulled her out, and she goes, "Dad, she's a boogeyman." And I looked at my daughter.
Oh,
What? Like, no, you don't say that about people. Like, why are? And she said it a second time. No, Dada, she's a boogeyman. And
oh,
and then I remember I looked at her and she was just standing there, like, kind of like she looked like her eyes were big and she was just looking at my daughter. And that was like the sign right there. I should have listened to my daughter, left it right there, but and no, I went
Yep.
through the whole 2.5 years of being with her. And then so anyway, I kind of got after my daughter, told her not to be saying mean things like that, and we lived together. We would do fun things together, like like the fair. It was fair season. We would go to every fair: the Rama Fair, the Zuni Fair, Crown Point Fair, Winter Rock Fair, Shiprock Fair, Chinley Fair, Tuba City Fair. Like we would take the kids to all of that, and I really liked it. I really liked the fact that I had 4 daughters and this new girlfriend, and it worked. And so my daughter's mom, she kind of just ran off with her guy and was doing that. So I mean, I was okay with it. I was fine with it, um, because I enjoyed having 4 daughters. That was for me. That was gold. And uh, I remember one morning, I could hear like a pat in the hallway, and I woke up and I'm like, what is that? Anyway, so I walked down the hallway and I turned the like I could hear. I'm like, it's a really weird pitter patter. And then so I turned the light on, and it's her youngest daughter, eyes rolled in the back of her head. So you just see nothing but the white of her eyes, and she's back there. She's just tapping my back door. And I was like, what in the heck? And she was like making a really weird noise, like she was breathing weird. And then I go and I wake her mom up, like, hey, look over here, look at your daughter. There's something. And I said, we need to take her to the hospital. No, we really. And so I'm getting the keys ready and everything. And she's like, no, 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 no. She was, my daughter has, she sleepwalks. I'm like, that's not sleepwalking. That's possession. Look at her. And then like, and it took her a while to come out of it. And then finally she had come out of it, and yeah, and I remember that was a little off. And then the balloon fiesta had happened in Albuquerque, and I asked her and her daughters to go with me, but they were doing something else. They had a birthday party or something they were going to, so they didn't go with us. And we get there, there's a lady, a psychic. I remember I seen her when we walked in, like 5 o'clock in the morning, and like I noticed her. It was weird how I just noticed her. She was looking at me. She followed me a little bit, and then we get away from her. We watch the balloons come up. There's all this kiddie stuff that happens there at the Balloon Fiesta Park. We do that. About 1 o'clock, we're getting ready to leave. We're leaving, and I see her again. I see the psychic, and she follows me to the exit. And then she goes, "Hey, excuse me, sir." She's like, "We've been waiting for you. We know that you had come from the east, and there's a message that we have to give you. A very important message. Can you just come to the tent, and then we can't just tell you. You need to pay for like some of the one of the services that we do." And I tell her like, I don't believe in like you predicting my future and all that. Like I don't believe in it. So, but she goes, no, sir. She goes, we really, really, really have a message for you. That we seen you. I'm like, I know. I said I seen you guys this morning as well. And then so fine. And then like she wouldn't let up. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So I paid like $10. They read my palm, and I'm like, you could tell that to anybody, and they would believe it. And then so she goes, well, anyway, the message we have to give you is a warning. She pulls a card out, and it's a picture of a man, and it's his head is all scribbled out. And she goes, recently you met somebody. She has black hair, and this is what she's gonna do to you. Then I'm like, well, what does this mean? And she goes, she's gonna really mess up your head. She's gonna the your thinking, and even up to death. It's and so I was like, whoa, like just kind of tripped out. Anyway, so we leave the Balloon Fiesta Park. I get to the car. I call her. I'm like, hey, guess what? This psychic lady told me that you're gonna ruin my life, and then that you could up into possibly death. And I remember she says, "Do you believe them?" And I was like, no. So that was
Uh,
like that was my second warning right there.
oh man.
wow.
Oh
Wow.
man. God loves you. God loves you.
And then my third warning, we were at work one day, and we both did we work together sometimes, like we try to let the person that wrote the schedule know not to put us on together. And so but there was one day we were working, and I was with this old grandma, and I was in there with her, and then she sticks her head in. She goes, "Hey," she goes, "I'm gonna run to the store. Do you want a coffee?" And I said, "Yes," with 2 cream, 2 sugar. And then she leaves, and then in Navajo, that lady goes, "Hey, Bistan Ashish," meaning asking me like, "Are you with that girl?" And then I told her, "Yeah, I am." And then in Navajo, she told me that there's something wrong with her, and that she thinks that she's gonna make my head spin. And she said this all in Navajo, and I was kind of like, "Whoa!" Like that. I kind of thought that was odd. And then she told me that she says, "Yeah, you need to leave her alone." And I didn't
Mm.
think nothing of it. I was just like, "Okay, yeah, whatever, grandma." And but it was weird though. Like I want to say maybe about a year later, that same grandma. This is when a lot of things were just going chaotic in my life. I remember that grandma. She called me and she told me that she used to mess with like witchcraft when she was younger. And she says that she goes, "I know you're a good person. Like when you come to work, you really look out for us. You really do take care of us." And so she goes, and so I'm gonna let you know this. She goes, "Right now, stop what you're doing, go out to your truck." She goes, "There's something out there. They're trying to put something on your truck right now." She goes, "Go out there." And I'm like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" She goes, "No." And then Navajo, she tell me, "Go right now." So I walk out there, and then as soon as I get outside, there's a cat that looked really weird. It looked like an animatronic cat for some reason. And I walk up, and then it goes around my truck. I run around, and it's right there. It's looking at me, and I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Whoever you are," I'm like, "Get away from me, leave me alone." And then it went around my truck again, and I went around, and like we kind of did like a circle around my truck a couple times, and then it disappeared. And then I was like, "Whoa, that was weird. Like, what the heck?" I went back inside, and that grandma told me she in Navajo, she asked me, "Did you see it?" And I said, "Yeah, it was a cat." And she goes, "Yeah." She goes, "They were trying to put something on your truck." She goes, "They can't do it now because you caught them." And I was like, "Oh." And then this is probably a couple days later. I get invited to what they called a squaw dance that her family was hosting and they
Mhm.
were putting on. So we go out way deep into the res where this is going on. But I noticed though when like we're there with like friends and cousins, not with the family. The family is like they built like way down there, and we're like on top of this hill, and they give me they give me a drink with herbs in it, and then they tell me to drink it, and I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm like, "No, I'm good. I'm all right." Like, yeah, I they go, "No, no, it's for everybody there. Everybody already drinks some, and so it's a blessing. It's to bless you." And I'm like, "No, I'm good." I kept trying to tell them no, but they were really pushy with it. So finally, I'm like, "Okay, I drank a little bit and I gave it, but they're no, no, drink more than that." And so they were like I said, really pushy about it. So I drank more, and then finally they were okay with it. And then I'm sitting there and I keep asking, like, "Can we go down to where they're eating?" And they're like, "No, they're gonna bring the food up here." And then all of a sudden it hits me like I'm
Uh,
like, "Whoa, something's not right." Okay.
Rippy, this drink. What kind of drink was it? Was it clear? Did it look
It was
what
it was
kind
like
of
green.
carbonated?
No, it was dark green in color, and there was like herbs in it. There was like a bunch of different types of herbs.
Huh? What did they give it to you? Like a
It was in a
bottle?
bowl.
A
It
bowl?
was in a bowl.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
usually hear stuff like this too. I heard back when I was a teenager. Uh, one of the boys that we used to hang around with, growing up, the satanic stuff, all that mumbo jumbo, and I was part of it. I was, so for a bit, I used to hang around that crowd. But one of the boys, he sat there, and we're sitting there in the living room. He was talking, and we're talking about last night, what happened, all that, and he said that he went off with a crowd too. We actually lost him that night, and he came across a crowd, and what they said was, "You want to go to hell?" And he handed him a bottle, and he's like, "Slam the whole thing, you go." So him just being in his youth, he just took it as a challenge and slammed the whole bottle. Next day, he woke up upside down and like what he was saying for like a whole week, he was seeing little dark, like bats, shadow things flying around the top of his head, or like even during school, uh, walking back to his house, he would see little, dark shadows like that, little bat shadows. It's I don't know too much about it, but that's what he told us when that happened to him. And also, these ladies when this is coming to my attention that these ladies they for whatever reason they throw their hair forward and they charge like that. I don't know if it's some type of camouflage. It'd be a lot easier to hide yourself behind your hair. So for whatever reason, they do this. It's really odd. It's strange, but that's
Hmm.
just one thing I
Got
caught
a
on.
quick, yeah. Somebody asked a question for you, Rippy. Carla
Yeah.
Washington. Rippy, how long were you with the witch?
2.5 years total.
Oh, 2.5 years. Did you hear that,
Yeah.
Carla?
So
And
the
then we
time,
got
the time,
Vaughn.
the time
How,
that they invited
go
me
ahead.
to that supposed ceremony that they were having was about 2 years 4 months. It, like no, it was 2 years 5 months. It was because like it took me a while to figure out that it was her that was doing all of this. So anyway, like I
Hmm.
was saying, I prior to this happening, I remember it was 2 nights before this happened, before they invited me out there. I woke up and then she wasn't in bed next to me. And I remember I got up, I went to the restroom, and I'm like, she's not in the house. And then so I remember I went outside just to see if her car was outside. Her car was out there, but I went back inside and I was just kind of sitting up because I couldn't sleep. And then she had come back in. I remember she came in and she was cold, like really cold, and she really stunk. And I was
Hmm.
asking her, I'm like, whoa, like what what did you get into? Like there's a really weird smell coming off of you. And she goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, there's a really weird smell coming off of you. Like what happened? And then she goes, I don't know. She goes, well, let me go shower. So she showered. And then that the next day, my brother had come over to visit me, and he told me, he says, hey Rip, I brought you a piece of turquoise, and I brought a arrowhead. And he says, I'm gonna put it on your right there on your front door entrance. And so he put the arrowhead up right there for me, and then he got some cedar and he burned it in my home. And then she had gotten off work that evening at 6 o'clock, and my brother did this in the morning around like 10 a.m. And when she got home, she was really mad. She goes, what did you burn in here? I said, I didn't burn anything. She went to the kitchen. She's really looking in the pots and pans. She goes, did you burn some food? I'm like, I didn't burn anything in here. What are you talking about? She's like, no, you burned something in here. I'm like, nothing was burnt in here. What are you talking about? And she was like really mad. And she went to the door, and then I remember she goes, well, she goes, if I hate it when you lie to me and this and that. And then she went out the front door. She slammed the door. That arrowhead that my brother had hung above my front door, she broke it. So that arrowhead broke in half. And my brother just placed that there that morning. And then
Hmm.
but at the time I didn't relate that she probably smelled that my brother burned cedar in my home, and that's what she was mad and upset about. But then so that's the whole
So,
reason when they invited me to that ceremony they were doing, I went because she was mad at me already. And
hmm.
so anyway, we're there at
uh,
the ceremony. Oh yeah.
Now before we get
Go ahead,
started,
go ahead.
did your brother, did he just do this out of just random, or did you tell him that you were going through
No, he
all
just
this stuff?
out of the blue he came up, but he knew something was up too. Like I was
Hmm.
telling you last night, when I first met her, my brother was like, you've never been like this with about a female before. And he was like, she put a spell on you
Yeah.
because you're mine. And then he said it jokingly though, but I think he knew something was up. And
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
not just him though, like a lot of my family, a lot of my friends, even my coworkers, they used to tell me that they got a really weird vibe from her. And they're like, why does she always come and have lunch with you every day? Like, doesn't she have a life? Doesn't she have her own things that she can do? She's just sitting outside all the time. And then on your lunch, you can't even hang out with us because you have to go hang out with her. I remember my coworkers, all like, yeah, all my coworkers didn't like her.
Hmm.
I think that's just how all Navajo women are. I was just kidding. My wife's listening. She's gonna hit me. I was just kidding. Oh, that's normal. That means she loves you. No, I was just kidding. Oh,
Hmm.
let's uh let's read some of our viewers' questions right here. Kurt W75 reminds me of the little girl from The Ring. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
definitely, definitely. And I start this one right here. It said oh, okay, wait. Okay. Seen two-legged dog tracks the other day north by the outhouse near our home, but we're used to it. It's just one of those things like that's why we stay inside at night. Oh yeah.
Yep.
And Navajo hate gallop and native native herb play violin for us. I'm just kidding.
Oh
Native
man.
herb and hike chats. I believe the whole reservation is actively active more than usual for some reason, but I hope the good side of the medicine has grown in strength too. Enjoy the stories,
Oh
y'all.
yeah.
Peace. And see here. Okay, they're saying latest. The big Gallup player. It's talking about you, Rippy. Oh man. Native herb and hike chats. Seen flying white figure flying overhead a couple of months ago. Oh, when I stepped out for a quick leak. When I looked up, I seen a silky white flying thing. It just quickly ashed myself. I just quickly ashed myself. Went back inside. Oh man, be careful.
Yep.
And Dwayne Hill says, "You're just a kind soul, brother." Yep, you are.
So brother.
You are, Rippy.
I
And
think I was in the Marine
Ivan,
Corps with Dwayne.
what was that?
I was in the Marine Corps with Dwayne. Huh.
Oh, for real? Okay, that's what's up. Then Native Herb and Hike Chats. I probably or might have slept with a Caucasian witch. Nowadays, the knows know where I am. I think it means
Hmm.
it knows where they are. Oh man, scary. See, anyway, I enjoy the stories, y'all. I was the type of person that walked the nights drinking with Ash with no fear in my 20s. Dang, nowadays I
Dang.
don't even dare. I dare not to do such things. LOL. Oh yeah,
Yeah. Y'all know better.
same here. Then Von Koshel, that's scary. Certain people will always know when people are not good. That's good. They let you know of her. Yep, but you didn't listen. I was just kidding. And Thirsty says, "Whoa, Joe Fox. I was with my ex-wife for 9 years. Oh man,
No.
he can probably tell you a thing or two. The nose always knows. Just don't be
Just
nosy,
knows.
Jk." You guys believe in telepathy? Telepathic? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Telepathic? Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's how they knew. They caught her vibe and say, "Hey, I gotta tell this guy." Wow, everyone's looking out for you. That's for sure. And
Sure.
you know what? You probably. Oh, well, moving on here. Let's just move on. Darren, you got any more questions before we push play and repeat here?
Oh no. Right now, I'm locked in place, ready to hear the rest of this story, man. It's really it's a unique story amongst itself. You know, just as the title of your book. So I'm all ears right now. Some stuff we talked about last night, and some things you just talked about right now. So uh,
Oh yeah.
let's get it, bro.
Yeah,
Let's
so
get it.
I drink the herbal drink that they gave me, and now I know something's not right. I'm like, something is really off. So I let her friends know, like, hey, can you get her up here? So she comes up and I'm like, let's leave. There's something is not right. I really feel that something is off. Can we please leave? And she's like, no. She goes, we're cooking. The food's gonna be ready in a little bit. She goes, just wait here. She was like, what's wrong with you? She goes, have you been drinking? I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I'm like, I'm still trying to impress your family. Like, I wouldn't come over here drunk. Like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, no, because you're acting weird. Like, why are you acting weird? I'm like, I'm not acting weird. There's something is not right. I'm like, please. I'm like, listen to me, believe me. Let's just leave. Let's get out of here. And then she takes off again. And now, like, I mean, it's like
like I'm almost certain now that it's that stuff I drink. There was something in it that, and then so now I get to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna get out of here. Like screw this. And then so my key is still in my pocket. I always my key. I always keep a little what do you call those things that you can latch to your belt loop and then you
Oh,
attach it to it so I don't drop it. So even if it
Mhm.
falls out of my pocket, like I don't lose it. But now I'm walking to where I had a Ford Expedition. It's not there. I'm like, what the? Where is my vehicle? And then so I turn to the people that are there, and they're like all just kind of like looking at me, and I know something's up because they're all like just looking at me. I'm like, hey, like where's my vehicle at, guys? And then they're like, no, just like, hey, she told you to just sit down, be calm. Like they're gonna bring some food up in a little bit. I'm like, no, like you guys are all up to something. I'm like, I know you guys are. I'm like, are you guys doing witch? Then I asked them. I said, are you guys doing witchcraft? And they were just like, then they were just kind of looking at me. And then they went down to get her. She comes back up, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, no. I'm like, you. These guys are doing something. I'm like, come on. And so at this point, I don't think she's a part of it. I think that she doesn't know about it. And so I'm trying to tell her, let's leave, but she's not getting the clue. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. I'm going to walk. And all of a sudden, like, there's a big guy there. I guess, I don't know if he was there for intimidation, but I was like, you know what? I am not, if you're here for intimidation, I'm not afraid. I will sock the crap out of you. And then so I'm standing there and all of a sudden I lock up. Like I can't move. It's like someone's holding my legs, somebody's holding my hips, somebody's holding me up here. Like, and then it's like there's somebody on my back, and it's like I can't move. And I'm like, what in the heck? Even my head, I can't like move my head. I can't even move my hands, my fingers. And I am like, oh man, Rippy, what the heck did we get ourselves into? And I'm trying to walk away, like I'm the road that I had come up. And it's a dirt road, and the sun's going down. And I start walking down this road, and there was one specific female, and it's weird. I still see her in town to this day. She would walk
gee.
past me, and she would tell me, "Go back to her, go back to her, just turn around, just go back to her. She's over here waiting for you." And I was like wondering, like, why is she saying this to me? And then all of a sudden, I would walk a little bit more, and then she would appear in front of me again. And she's like, "Go back to her." She goes, "You should join us in what we're doing." And I'm like, "No, like I don't. You guys are, yeah, you guys are like weird. Like, no, I'm not. Like." And then she'll come back again, and she keeps telling me to come back. And at this point, like I'm mad, I'm pissed off, and I'm like, well, I'm like, let go of me. You guys let go of me. And I'm like I'll fight you guys one on one. And then then they're not able. The sun goes down, and I probably only make it like 200 yards over like the course of 2 hours, and finally I make it to the main road. And as I'm on the main road, it's dark, and I in my head, and my thinking process is really weird. Like it's like I'm really trying to concentrate on each step that I'm taking, and I keep going to the middle of the road. And when I was in the middle of the road, a vehicle would zoom by me really quick, missing me by like a foot. I would feel the wind from and I kept telling myself like, Rippy, get off the road, get off the road. And I would walk off the road, and I'm walking, and next to know I'm in the middle of the road again. And I would be like, what the heck, get off the road. And then another vehicle would zoom by again. And like, I don't remember exactly how many vehicles had zoomed by, but the road goes up and down. So like you could hear the vehicle, but then you would see it, and they would zoom really quick. And they're going like 80 miles an hour or something like that on this road. And then finally, like I could hear like some growling, like scary growling noises over here in the dark. Then all of this, then I would be like, "F you guys! Like, come on! If you guys, if you're even tough," I said, "Come, step up! Let go of me! Stop doing this, and let's fight." And then all of a sudden, it sounds like a horse running, like do 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 do, like it's like the horse is gonna hit me or something, or like some kind of animal. But like it would run, and it would sound like it's coming right up to hit me, but nothing ever hit me. Then it would do it again. It would come from this side. It would come from this side, and then like I was like, and at this point, like I am terrified. I am scared. what the heck? And then the growling noises too. Like there was a lot of like demonic growling. It sounded like. And then finally I get to the point to where I can move like a little bit more. I'm able to take bigger steps, and then so now I'm cussing at them. I'm like, "F you guys!" Like it takes how many of you guys, and it's just me by myself. But I'm like, "Come on, let's come up. Let me grab you. Let me just grab one of you. Let's see what happens." And now they're laughing at me. I could hear one laughing over here, one laughing over here, one laughing way back there, one laughing right here, like one laughing behind me on this side, and then at this point I start yelling, and then I'm cussing at them, and then they're like all laughing. So like that end of the song Master of Puppets, like they're at the end of the song, when the song ends, you hear them all, there's a bunch of laughter going on. That's exactly what it sounded like when I was trying to fight them, and then they're all laughing at me. And I remember just sitting there like, whoa. So now whenever I hear that song and I hear the end of that song, I'm just like, oh damn, hibby jibbies. And so anyway, as I get further away from where this ceremony was supposed, where it was this supposed ceremony was taking place, I'm able to move now. I'm able to move my arms a little bit more. So now I get my phone out, and I'm trying to text like my brother, somebody that could come out there and meet me. And then, but I'm not, for some reason, I'm not, I'm only able to text like like people, like one person I texted was, she was the Girl Scout, the head Girl Scout lady for my daughter's Girl Scout. My daughter was a Girl Scout. So, but I sent her a text like, can you meet me on that road going towards Tohatchi? And but that's what I thought I texted. The next day when she showed me the text, it sounded like it said like need help, like not, it wasn't spelled perfectly. It was like NEDHLP, then like NT, like not GNA, gonna MKIT, like need help, not gonna make it. Like it sounded like I was trying to kill myself. And so like later on when I finally figured it out, that I think their whole deal was me being messed up and sending those text messages out. Those vehicles were missing me. One of those vehicles was probably supposed to hit me, and then those text messages that I had sent out were supposed to make it look like that's what I was going to do. Another text message I sent out was uh, to this other lady that I used to work with. The one I sent to her, it said need MD. Um, like life life is crazy. And I remember, but like I remember like later when I looked at the text messages, because they weren't on my phone when I finally found my phone the next day. They weren't on my phone, but when I ran into the people that I sent the text message to, they showed me. I tried looking for my phone today so I could see, so maybe I could show show it here, but I don't have that phone anymore. So anyway, I finally make it to this junction, and then now it's just a straight shot going south to Gallup. There's a gas station there in Twislagai. I finally made, like, once I got to that main road, they kind of backed up off me. Like they would still run at me, they would still growl at me. They would like, it sounded like somebody was walking behind me, like when I was a kid. And then, but now like I'm passing Twin Lakes. I get between like Twin Lakes and Twislagai, and now I'm walking full stride. I'm walking fast. As soon as I get to the gas station, I go inside, and there's a lady that was working, and I said, "Hey," I said, "is it okay if I use your phone?" She said, "Yeah." So I the only person's number I have memorized in my head was the girlfriend's and my mom's. So I call my mom's number, no answer. I call it again, no answer. Call it again, no answer. Call it again, no answer. Fifth time I called it, she picked up. And she goes, yeah. She goes, what's going on? I said, hey, mom. I said, I'm over here. I'm at that gas station in Twislagai. Can you pick me up? She goes, hang on, I'll be right there. And then I said, okay. And then so I hung the phone up. I gave it back, the phone back to that lady. I bought like a water. And then I remember I just stood outside, and I was thinking about everything that happened. And I thought, if I called the police and I told them this story, how would they look at me? What would I sound like letting the police know this? That that there's these hooves running at me, ready to hit me. These growling noises that they're like that's if I told that story, or me being on a road in a vehicle like missing me by inches, like that would sound very weird. So I told myself, you know what? I got to be really careful who I tell what happened. And so my mom finally gets there, and she got there pretty quick. And I was like, "Whoa! Like you got here pretty fast, Mom." And she goes, "Rippy," she's like, "You never ask for help." She goes, "I know that something is going on." So I jump in with her. Then she takes me to one of the that restaurants on the north side that's open all night. We get some pancakes. We get something to eat, and then I'm like really hesitant on telling her what just happened because I'm trying to make sense of it still. Like it doesn't make sense to me, and like I don't want to. And I know she's gonna be asking me like, "Well, have you been drinking? Have you like what have you been doing?" And so finally, I'm like, "No, do you know what? Because if something happens, I want someone to know that something really weird just happened to me." And so I start telling my mom, and my mom just sitting there listening to me, listening to me. And then as I'm telling her the story, I look up at her, and she's just still like looking at me. And finally I told her the whole story, and I'm like, "Mom, do I sound crazy?" Then my mom goes, "No, you're not crazy." She goes, "Unfortunately, this is part of our culture," and that she goes, "Normally, if you would tell somebody else this story, yes, you definitely would sound crazy, and that's what they want you to sound like. Like you would sound like you're seeing or hearing things and stuff like that. But yeah." But she goes, "I believe you. I believe everything that you said that happened." And she started telling me like some stuff that she experienced when she was growing up and even as an adult. And
Yes,
then so
that's uh, that's one thing with the culture. Like you said, it comes with the culture. Um, I keep telling people like, yeah, this what they call skinwalker, this Yanagos, the witchcraft that's very much real, and it's still active right here. So it's kind of even you say like, I'm Native American. Where are you from? Oh, I'm Navajo. Oh, you have any? What's the deal with the skinwalkers? That's like basically the second question they ask afterwards. So uh, it just comes with territory, bro. So
Hmm. Yeah. 1 second before we continue on again. We got a lot of people. Well, we got some jokers in the chat box. Oh, I am not gonna bring that up. Never mind, never mind. Let's see here. Um, we got a joker there. See here. Cam's Razor Montana. Let's see what he say here. Okay. Intuitively, you could tell something is wrong. Other people could also. However, there is also recurring denial. Do you think that there's an element of mind influence enchantment the victim struggles with? Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like he was being enchanted the whole time. That's definitely one thing that did happen. We see here Carla Washington. Rippy, how did you get away from her? And she said she comes back again. Rippy, where can I get your book at?
wow,
um
all good
right
answers too. Good questions.
right now the book is still being printed. They gave me a date to when I would possibly receive it, which would be right the day before Thursday before Halloween. So I initially ordered, I think it was 200 copies. And then because I don't have the artwork that I want for the book, it's like I said, it's just going to be um, typewriter font. So I dated a Skinwalker by Rippy Williams, and then then it's just all black. But the next batch that I get printed is gonna that there's some artwork on it. The artwork is actually me on top of that hill when I thought my grandma was walking up.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Wow.
Awesome. And
But yeah, so
we have
as as soon
go
as I
ahead.
get I'm not gonna really. I'm gonna sell it privately at first. I'll probably put up a website, and then so we could purchase it through there. I'll be at the flea market in Gallup selling it there, and I'm gonna reach out to the Navajo Nation museum and see if they want to pick up some copies from me, and then just to see like how we do, and then just like some outlets like down in Cameron, they have that trading post. I'm gonna go visit places
Mhm.
like that if anyone wants to carry the book.
Oh wow.
Oh, awesome. Look out for the flea markets across the res, everybody. And
Mhm.
while you're doing that, can you I'm gonna do something like get a paper, I'm gonna print Darren's face, his height, and maybe his weight and say, hey, single, $100 down. I was just kidding, Darren. Try and sell Darren off here,
Yeah,
guys. That was
we'll
playing.
get another victim right there.
Single and ready
Oh
to
shit.
Oh man, we got Darren right here. Test subject. Any skinwalkers want to cuddly guy? It's cuddly season. It's gonna get cold out there, ladies. Anybody? Just play. And she asked also Carla Washington. She said, "How did you get away from her?" But I think you're gonna get to that pretty soon.
uh,
And go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
like before we get before you get started,
Oh, okay.
this area that you guys went to, that they took you, was there anything odd about that area? Was the I can understand like some people have or some like these dark uh, practices. They have their how would you say it? Their defiled place. Like the place where they go specifically just to do demonic stuff or witchcraft stuff.
yeah.
Just like the holy people have their churches, or they have their areas they go to pray. Was there anything odd about this area that they took you to?
Not really. There was just
Um,
no houses out there. There was, and like I said, the dirt road that led up to it, it hasn't been driven on that much. It was just like
Hmm.
just you could see where the two tires were at. That's it. Like there wasn't much travel back there, and I've driven back there a couple times just to look at the area. But still, like yeah, it's really secluded. There's no one lives out there. Like I said, they made a child. Well,
mm,
they brought wood and they made a like they made like a little they made a hut, and then
mhm,
where we were at was like near there was a little ditch, and the vehicles were just on top. That's where we were sitting at. That's where my vehicle just like pretty much went missing.
mm,
And let
yeah,
me backtrack on this part. This was like probably the 2 days before she got upset and broke that arrowhead above my door. We were talking about TNR, which is a grocery store. Like right as you leave Gallup, New Mexico, they sell fresh butchered mutton there. Uh, and so every time she got her food stamps, she would always get me a rack of ribs from TNR. So it was funny. We were talking about TNR, and she was getting ready to go to TNR, and she was telling me, she goes, yeah, she goes, I remember back in 2004, I every time my mom went to TNR, she goes, I would always go with her. And this is when not the new TNR building, we were in the old TNR building. She goes, I used to go with her because I used to like to check out the guys that worked in the meat department. And so I asked her, I said, what grade were you in then? She goes, I was a freshman in high school. And I haven't said this part yet, but I was 11 years older than her. And so um, when I said, so you were a freshman. I said, what year was that? She goes, it was about 2004. I said, yeah, I used to work there in 2004. And then she smiled at me and she goes, I know. And I was kind of
Yeah.
like, whoa, whoa, what the heck was that? Like, I don't know. And then I didn't play into it that much. I didn't ask her any more about it. I just it wasn't until later that I thought like, whoa, wait a second. And then so anyway, after what all was said and done, I figured out that when I graduated from Marine Corps boot camp, that little girl that I caught outside of my from my grandma's house, she would have been the same age as that little girl that I caught. And
Wow.
but the one thing that I've always said, and one of the reasons why like I wrote the book is in hopes of running into other people that have been through this, because my I still have the question of why me. Like there is nothing special about me. I'm not like like why me? Like especially if it was that if it was like planned out from for a long time, like what's like, there's nothing special about me. Like how was I picked? How and why is my
You just
question.
attract crazy girls. You just attract the crazy ones.
Hmm.
It happens to some of us. Thankfully, Darren, you do not experience that. Not just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure Darren has someone watching outside, or probably has a hair doll of Darren somewhere out there.
uh,
Give it back. Not just kidding.
yeah,
Just funny.
yeah. If so, she's putting a needle in my back hurts though. So, oh shoot.
That's my back. Not just kidding. But go ahead, Ricky. I'll let you.
Yeah, so anyway, we go into town, like we eat. I tell my mom the story, and so at this point, the next day, I um I go back out there, and I look at my vehicle's right where it was at. Like I said, it just, I don't know how it disappeared from. I was there the night before, but it was right where I parked it. I opened it. I looked at it. I looked all around it and everything, and then I get in it, and then I park at a certain area, and I walk back up because I wanted to look at my footprints. My footprints was like I would shuffle, like I was shuffling my feet, and then I made a circle. Then I would shuffle it some more and make another circle, and I did this for over like 7 miles. Like, and then I
Wow.
don't remember walking like that, but that's what my footprints look like. And about maybe 4 miles from where the, and the weird thing about it is they already took everything down that next day. Like there was nothing out there. Just my vehicle was just sitting out there. Like everything was taken down. And then so I find my phone. My phone is sitting there. And then as soon as I pick up the phone, like I had a certain, my phone made a certain noise when I would receive a text message, but when she sent a text message it sent a different noise, and then I heard it. When I heard that text message pop up, I remember the hairs like stood, and like that fear just hit me again. And I read her message, and she's like, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, I do not, like, I don't, I don't know if I want to text her, because like at this point I still thinks that she thinks that I was drinking, and but I don't, she wasn't there for all this that happened. And then she said, then it took me a while to text her back, and I finally texted her back, and she says, let's meet at Applebee's. So and at this point, like I'm kind of terrified to see her, to meet up with her. But I somehow I go to Applebee's anyway, and then I walk in, and but before I did that, I don't know why, but I started that next day. I was praying, like I was from morning until, like I was just praying all day. Like, what happened? I don't know what happened. Like, I don't. How do I make sense of this? What do I do? And I was trying to get in contact with this guy that I know who's a medicine man, but I couldn't get in contact with him. And then so I went to a church, and I talked to this one pastor about what happened, and he kind of had a little bit of insight that I kind of liked some of the stuff that he had said. And so that's why, like, I just went to prayer. I thought I'm gonna pray. I found my cedar. I burnt some cedar. Uh, I remember there was this old white couple that used to live in front of me. They told me to get some salt and then just put it around my place, and I did some of that. Uh,
Uh,
I let my brother know. My brother came over with all of his stuff, and then um, yeah, it was a weird time for me because I didn't know what just happened, and I'm still trying to figure it out. And but at the same time, though, I'm terrified of her. Like I don't know. Um, I just don't know what happened, and I'm still trying to make sense of it. So then, when I see her at Applebee's, there was something like when I first seen her, and I sat down, and she's sitting right there, just looking at me. At the same time, I still think like, wow, she's really pretty. But at the same time, there's something different like that. Like my body is like I don't even know how to describe that feeling. Like I want to be around her, but I don't want to be around her.
all that's that love spell, man.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
so anyway, so we hit a certain part of my conversation, and I tell her, I said, "Do you know what? I don't know what happened, but I think that we need to do something different. Like, should we go to a church?" And then she goes, "Why would you want to go to church?" I said, I don't know. I talked to a guy this morning, um and then it was weird. Like, we just the conversation was just about, like, I wanted to do something different, and then I wanted her involved with it, but she didn't want nothing to do with that. And then we ended up going back outside, and then uh, the thing that initially hooked me was uh, like having sex, and then so we did that right there at Applebee's, and I'm back
Really?
in again. Like I'm like under that love spell, and I'm
Got dessert.
and
Oh,
I'm back with her again. And the weird thing about it though is, like, you know how sometimes you're with somebody and you're with them for like a whole year, and then you kind of start getting tired of them, and you're like, yeah, like it's I'm like with her, I never got like that. It was like every day was like when I first started really liking her, every day was like that. And so for me, it was hard leaving her because, um, and then once I figured it was her, like I remember it was just one day where I got that feeling again, like there's something not right. And I was asking her, like, then I asked her, I said, "Are you doing this to me?" And then she goes, "No, Rippy, you're just stupid. You don't know what's going on." And I'm like, no, I'm like, you're doing this to me. And I remember I called her out. I told her that she's the one that's doing that to me. And then I said it. I know they say that if you confront a skinwalker and you tell them that's what they are, that something happens to them. And I did that to her, but nothing happened to her. And then from that point on, it was really weird. Like everything in my life, like just chaos, like even with my home, with work, everything. Not there wasn't like one thing that was right and okay. And then like, even my home, that you could hear something running on top of the roof at night, and it got really bad, like even and then real so bad that I remember my nephew slept over one night, and he never slept over again because he told me that there was a man talking to him through the wall, and that thing that just kept running around, it's running around outside. You can hear it right up against the window, and so I got so used to that like now that doesn't scare me at all now. And I usually, when I
Hmm.
worked up in Montana, like they gave me a bunch of bear spray up there. I probably have like 30 cans of these, and so whenever I hear something outside and there's a breeze, I'll just shoot it on top of my place, and it just goes over my home. And you then yeah, nothing. Well, and then for me, like once the thing, I think the thing that really pulled me out of that, away from that, I met this veteran. He was a really big, muscular guy, and uh, I remember like we were talking, and we had a lot of similar stories. He went on a deployment himself, and then he was telling me, he goes, "Well, brother," he goes, "you know what? There's something that he goes, I seen you. I know that you're just going through a lot in life right now," and he goes, "I want to tell you that I've been right where you're at," because he was from Puerto Rico, and he's like, "There's a lot of like uh brujerias, like witch stuff that they do down there as well." But he's like, there's one thing that pulled me out of that saved me, because he says that I think that I would have died from alcoholism, from drugs, and just that life. But he's like, there's one thing that took me out. He goes, I met another veteran that told me that finding a relationship with God is 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 um is something that there's protection in. And it's funny though, because like that, the medicine man that's a friend of mine that I was talking about earlier, he told me that I remember it was a story that he was telling, some kind of story about how there's certain Christians, people that say that they believe in God, that when they try to do evil towards them, that there's like a bubble that surrounds them, that there's nothing able to bother them. But he's like, not every Christian though. He goes, there's a lot of Christians that'll proclaim it, and they'll have all these Bible verses posted
they're
on their
doing
Facebook,
dirty
but they
things.
don't have that bubble around them. But he's like, there's certain
Mhm.
ones. And then he's like,
Yeah.
he goes, I believe it's all your relationship with God.
Yes.
And then
Hmm. Whoa.
Well,
Whoa. Oh. Oh. That's
ah,
paranormal right there. Oh man. That's very,
well,
very, very sketchy right there.
yeah. Well,
Wow.
Rippy's getting to
No.
the Rippy's
Oh,
getting to
it
that
totally
part,
does not.
uh,
Yeah.
saying that it's you find peace in life. You find peace in life with this in this world through the love of Jesus Christ, and it's a good thing to have with you, even uh, as a younger man. You don't think about it, and then when you get older, you find the world's kind of a really lonely and violent place. So take your time out. Thank God for living, breathing, and the people that are around you. Um, it's not a really huge sacrifice, to thank God for all this, and in return you get eternal salvation, which is a good trade by my standards, huh, people?
Yep.
So,
And then
uh,
here's Oh yeah. Yeah, he hopefully he comes back on. I don't know what in the world
yeah,
happened there. It was just like the Sopranos, just in mid sentence. Right here, Melody Alvarez. Whoa, sell him like sheep. Oh yeah, yeah. We got the meat. No, just playing.
Don's meat shop,
Tina.
huh?
Arby's is not the only one that has meat. No, just playing. Tina Nimberg, beautiful message. Oh yeah, like he was saying, like it's just all starts off with that fear. You go outside, some people are afraid of the dark. Just right there, you lost the battle. And for us
Cool.
growing up, the older ones would always say, "Go outside, go get woods. You don't need flashlight. You don't need this," because the nighttime was just like a magic blanket. It covered us. If it wasn't for the night, we would not be here at all. We would have all been off. We wouldn't have been
Mhm.
existing here. So, all starts with that. Wherever you guys go out there, make sure you guys try to maintain your connection with God. And while you're maintaining your connection, seeking that connection, also seek balance. Seek balance with the nature around you, with the air outside, the wind, the breezes, with your animals. Find some way to take care of everyone. Your neighbors, whoever your neighbor is over there, they live by you for safety, and we're supposed to look after each other. And a lot of things like that happens on the reservation. And he was going to tell us a few more stories that he was getting to. And one of the stories that really stuck with me last night, hearing him, Rippy, was when the cop pulled him over. The cop pulled him over,
Oh,
and he said his ex, the lady, was driving, and I guess they left the bar and they pulled over on the side of the road, and the police was coming up. He said that he seen her put her hand on her stomach, and she put her other hand on back of her head, and she was rubbing in circles. And he was like, "What are you doing?" And she opened the door, and he said she flapped on the ground, boom. And then she started moaning. He said she started moaning a really loud, really strange moan. And he said that she was making a circle with her hands in the air while she was laying down and moaning. And he said the cop came up, they called her an EMT. The EMT got here, they helped her on the stretcher, they put her inside the unit, and he said the cop just left. And then after a while, they let her out of the unit. She got back in the car and drove it off, and he said the whole time she clearly smelled like alcohol, reeking of liquor, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, that story is like it's a wild story. And
yeah,
one
yeah.
of the stories that he didn't get to was well, he was at another place with the same lady and and friends and family, and he was hearing something going on like drumming in a shack. And he made his way. He said he was dizzy. Something was going on again. And he opened the shack, and he said that he's seen these musicians. Okay, these musicians are Navajo musicians, And these musicians are currently on the Navajo Nation playing all around the reservation. These guys are heavy metal blues players, so be careful who you listen to. And I don't know if you guys are all moonstruck over one musician. I don't know if it makes you want to throw your panty to the stage or not. That urge is not right. Unless it's Darren.
Yeah,
Unless it's Darren, we'll make an exception for Darren.
yeah,
Digitally. Digitally. No,
you know
yeah.
that's true too. The way music was explained to me was it's actually a form of witchcraft. Believe it or not. Like you listen to music and you go, just say you go to like like you said, like a concert, metal concert. Everybody, as they when they go in, everybody's clean minded. But as the show progresses, everybody gets wild, and the mood changes. You can really tell what music does to people, and it's really an odd thing if you really look at it like that. Music is, it's a form of witchcraft, wordmancy, I guess you would say, uh,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
perform and have people.
Enchantment.
Yeah, exactly, and it's
Yeah.
a way
He
to.
was under a spell. Oh,
Oh yeah, yeah,
whew,
for sure, man, for
jeez.
sure. But I
Yeah.
tell you
He
this,
hasn't
I'm
even
not.
come
I'm
back
not.
on yet, too.
Yeah, I tell you
Yeah.
this much. I'll be looking at Arby's, or was it? They say Arby's. Uh, oh man,
Applebee's.
I forgot. Applebee's. I'm not gonna look
Oh,
at Applebee's. He said
yeah.
too, and like, oh Lord, Rippy, not in
Yeah.
front of the kids, bro. That place is really
Oh,
it's
yeah.
real close, clustered right there too. Poor guy.
Yeah. Right here, Navajo says, I think Gallup girls do that. uh, no offense to the Gallup girls. No offense. No offense. I'm sure you guys make some good fry bread. I'm pretty sure. Um, Razor MT. I can't even say the first part. All cams, Razor MT. Narcissists often target empaths for their genuine care. Yeah,
Hmm.
there could possibly be a spiritual equivalent to that dynamic where individuals are targeted for being genuine on that spiritual level. Yeah, and those
Oh,
guys that
yep.
practice witchcraft, they see it too, and that's why they go to that person, which will be a child, which is usually the case, and they're drawn to that child, and they take that child. They take them to an area. They say, "Do you see like a silver ball, a shiny ball?" And no one else can see it with their naked eye, but only that child or that person with gifts can see it. And so that medicine man would have a bag, and she would collect those what would look like a rock to us, but with to the medicine man's eyes and that child, it's a glowing crystal ball. So in the spirit realm,
Hmm.
in the physical realm, blend together. So these medicine men go around, or medicine women go around, they try to steal the gifts because God gives gifts to every one of us. And we all have that gifts for to work with like tools. So there's a lot of people in our culture that wander around. And when you like sometimes I know when I'm sitting with the medicine man, they don't have to tell me. And one of the tall tale signs that you're sitting with someone that has a gift is that they're looking in your eye a little bit, or they're looking right here around this whole area. They're looking for some reason, and then when you catch on to that, you give them that same stare, and they'll break eye contact because they're looking at what you did, last week. They're looking at what you know or any secrets, and sometimes they even they even know who you did the dirty with, over the hill. They can see all that. And being on the reservation, you have to be really careful. Like there's reasons why I don't introduce my full name and my clans, because those skinwalkers are involved with blackmail. There's got you know they'll hold something against you and over you, and just have power over you. That's the main hook. That's the main game. And like with Rippy's case, I was telling him, I was like, dude, man, she was just buttering you up and putting herbs on you, and just
Hmm.
eventually sacrifice you. That's what it was all going down. And oh man, he hasn't even come back on yet. Something's going on.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I had
listeners out there,
a to
go ahead.
ask him that ultimate question: how do you break
He didn't
break
finish.
up with
Yeah,
with the Skinwalker. You know,
he didn't
like how did
finish.
this?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh
how did
man,
that?
I'm sorry, guys. Part two coming up, guys. Part two. We got everyone
Oh,
asking here to say, Melody, what happened to the lady? Is she still alive? Yeah, I asked him.
yeah,
Um, yep, I
yeah. We
asked
talked
him.
about
He
this
said
last
she's
night
still
too, huh?
alive. Yeah,
And
and
on occasion, he sees her in the group
yeah,
that he was with
yeah,
too. Or
yeah.
yeah,
All of
dude,
them
it's really weird.
practicing
So
witchcraft. Yeah, there's a lot of them in Gallup, New Mexico, practicing witchcraft. So everyone out there, be careful. Be really careful. And Tina Nimberg, a serious topic that's real. Be careful what vibration you expose to yourself.
mm,
Yep. And then Melody, was that you? I thought I heard somebody. That was you, huh? Hopefully that was you. I heard something.
yeah,
Melody Alvarez said he was going to talk about God. That's crazy. Beautiful message.
yep.
It sure was. Oh man. Well, guys,
So
looks like we're gonna have to play in a part two here with Rippy. He said that his phone is not coming back on at all. He said the phone is flickering and it's frozen. It's not letting him get back onto the show,
oh
which is
wow.
very, very, very odd. Which is very odd.
Mm.
So with the last 8 minutes here, I think I'm gonna start taking some bids for Darren Yazzie. Winter's coming. I have a feeling it's gonna be cold, ladies. I just played, but
uh,
we're gonna have
yeah,
to bring him
Rippy.
back on for sure.
Yeah, I know he had a couple other stories too that with besides this this Skinwalker lady. I think you
Mhm.
mentioned him seeing a firebird or a phoenix, right?
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to that. Man. We're gonna have to bring him
Yeah,
back on. Every one of
yeah,
our
that
guests that we brought on, we'll bring him back on. But go ahead, Darren. Sorry,
yeah,
didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah.
Didn't
That's uh one of the guys that I'm trying to get on to. He mentioned seeing one of these these firebirds, these phoenix birds, whatever you would like to call them. But he talked about it too. Uh, what he mentioned, I don't know if you Pokemon players out there, I'm not one of them, but I know the creature that he talks about. He called it Oho. It's kind of like a legendary bird in that little universe that they have. He saw it kind of resembled that to
you?
the sense where when it was flying, it was like leaving, you know, uh, like glitter, sparkles or whatnot behind it when it was flying in the air. So that's just another mystery out there, but they're seeing stuff,
Mhm.
seeing stuff out there. And
Yeah,
uh, to the people who do see something, come on the podcast and talk about it. It's
yeah,
one thing
especially
that,
that Firebird. Yeah.
yeah, for the podcast too, we see a lot of good things coming out of it. People are coming out of the woodwork, and the podcast is, it's giving them courage to talk more about it. Um, about these subjects that you live with and deal with on occasion. So the last
Yeah.
episode was the same way. He came out of the woodworks and said like, yeah, like I thought I was crazy. It's good to know I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
uh,
And Melody, yeah, he connected the dot. That the little girl he chased was him that was following him all along, watching him cut meat, watching him handle his meat. No, I was just playing. So, she did her enchantment spell and all that. She probably has his chonies right now as we speak, looking at it, saying, "You're not. That's enough talking about me. Oh,
yeah,
sever your connection to the
that
internet."
that yeah,
Crazy.
right. Dreamcatcher, huh?
Oh yeah. And then Oak Cams Razor Montana. The disconnection is a perfect excuse to have Rippy back on and go in greater depth on the topic.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
definitely, definitely. We're gonna have to write some. We're gonna have to get some questions down and dig a little deeper with all our guests as well. I'm gonna have to write some serious questions down for everyone. Looking
yeah.
forward to part two.
Uh,
So go ahead there.
so saying that, to all the viewers, the people that are watching this live, hit like, share, and subscribe. And also, you can also be part of the conversation. Leave a message, leave a question you want to answer or have answered out, and if it's there, we'll answer it with Rippy.
Hmm.
Probably this time forward, get involved. Ask questions
Yeah.
with
Yep.
our guests.
Another note. Yeah, exactly. Please do that, you guys. Another announcement before we cut the cord tonight. Halloween, 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time after the last show from the United Public Radio Network. We'll be doing a Halloween special. Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. Our goal is to invite 10 people to 15 people and just we'll just all go around in a circle, share some scary stories for a Halloween night special for all you parents, for anyone that wants to come on. And Melody, she says, the ex isn't invited. No,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
please, no,
You,
no. Keep her away from Darren. Keep her away from Darren. Oh, jeez. Yeah,
but
man, that's crazy. Like the girl with her face, with her hair covering her face. That's
yeah,
textbook. Like when you would pull
yeah.
up on the female Skinwalker, she always had her hair covering her face, and she like the a lot of stories I hear, the female skinwalkers, they have a lot of jewelry, across their arms, fingers, and they have no top, just the hair covering their chest and the hair going spread out across the ground, like really long hair. So
Mm.
that's one of the stories that correlates a lot with that. Um, with that being the case, Darren, do you want to say latest to everyone before we?
Later. Have a good work week. I, to everybody, I guess. Stay safe out there.
Oh yeah, everybody, exactly. Make sure you do proper lifting techniques for all your construction workers and all your moms out there. If you're gonna pick up your baby, make sure you use your legs when you lift, please. And uh, with that being the case, I'll close this out right now. Darren, you ready?
Yep.
You're gonna have to cut the cord. All right. So thank you for tuning in to Don't Whistle at Night. We've been broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And you guys be safe out there. Keep your eyes open. And remember, don't whistle at night. You guys have a great night. See ya.
If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to discuss on the show, please